All right, let's talk a little sports. Let's cover college football news. Let's cover a different couple of different stories. The biggest story, obviously, Deion Sanders and Colorado upset TCU. A lot of people don't want to talk about how big of an upset that was. I think it was actually pretty big, not just because of TCU basically losing to a team that's in the college. There's three things you can't do if you're a ranked team. You can't lose to an unranked team. You can't lose at home, and you for sure can't lose to a team that has no chemistry. In the sense of Colorado revamped the team over 80 players, new players that weren't there last year were brought in on the offseason. It's hard to build chemistry in a off season. Essentially, 8 months, 9 months tops, and they lost to that team. But not just lost; they really, really played bad. Had a whole bunch of questionable situational football mistakes. They threw two red zone interceptions right to the guys. And honestly, this really could have been way worse. And I don't think people, if you actually watched the game, you could have seen they could have lost by 20. Sanders, the quarterback, could have had 600 yards passing. They missed three deep bombs, wide open, just drops. And, they hit the same route to the right, all the way, bombs down the field, Hail Marys essentially. And they only hit one. They hit one late in the game to kind of give them a chance to win the game. Obviously, we didn't know at the time, but they won the game. But they really, he could easily could have had 600 yards passing. It was that bad defensive, and both sides defensively didn't do great. But Colorado got the stops when they needed it. But TCU, two red zone interceptions. They missed a field goal. And the biggest key in the game to me was fourth down. They ran a lot of no huddle throughout the game. And 4th and 9, 2 minutes left. This is not NFL, so you don't actually, they had two timeouts. They would get another one if it was 2 minute warning. They didn't have that option. So to me, as a coaching staff, you want your guys rested. You want the best play. And they came out there, no huddle, rushed the play, and it was to the flat, and the man may have got 5 yards. Let's say 6. And they relied on him breaking a tackle, but even if he would have broke a tackle, I don't think he would have got the 9 yards. He may have got 8.5 and still would have punted. To me, you got two timeouts. This is college. You got to call a timeout. I want my best play, but most importantly, I want my guys rested. And let's see if we can get this first down. They didn't do that. They lost. So TCU, to me, what this is going to do is a lot of people did not want TCU in the title game because they felt the competitive nature of them versus Georgia would be drastically different. And obviously, we knew the results. They lost by 55 points, and it was the truth, right? So this will hurt other market teams. Obviously, the bigger teams will get voted in, even with one loss. The Alabamas, the LSUs, Florida, whoever is in there. If they may have one or two losses, they may say, well, we can compete better with these teams. And you don't want to see a national championship game that lopsided. It doesn't help the fans, no matter who you're rooting for. But obviously, the league wants to have competitiveness. So that's going to hurt the smaller market or second or third tier teams going forward with the committee votes. So TCU really is off to a bad start. But another team that no one's really talking about is Big Mouth Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly said they were going to beat Florida, and I stayed up and watched the game, and I went to bed when they was losing by 7. It might have been 28-17, something like that, 35-28, something like that. So I'm like, man, this is getting too much. It's pretty much was back and forth the whole game. I wake up and lost by 20. They couldn't stop them. LSU was back in the day known for defense, and they just had issues scoring. They're really trying to revamp the brand of LSU. Last couple of years, they've had issues with scoring, but now they score, and now they can't stop a freaking plastic bag. So that's their issues now. I don't know if he's the right guy for that job. We'll see going forward. But that was a big loss because Florida State, just dismantled them offensively. They couldn't stop anybody. But when you are a big market team, you really we have to do one thing well. Whether we can score a lot of points or we can play defense. But when you can't do neither, you really don't have a lot of chances to win in those big spots. And it's gonna have a tough time making it to the end of the season with just one loss. The way college is, you want to get your one loss kind of at the end. You don't want to get it early because now you have no room for error. No one can get injured. You can't have a bad field goal kicker. You can't go to overtime and use all your players and all this stuff like that. You have to have clean football throughout. So you want to, things are going to happen. Injuries are going to happen. You're going to have a fluke coin toss. You're going to have a tip pass. You're going to have things happen. You want that stuff to happen in the end of the season. You don't want one loss to happen game 1 or 2 when you got to essentially win out. And it's real too early for that. So I think Brian Kelly, the way college is, he on the hot seat already. But he put himself on there by talking smack. Shut up. You want to be confident and say, we have a chance to win this game. But you want to respect your opponent because, again, it's sports. Anything can happen. Your player can get injured. These games are very, very different now. So penalties can happen. Anything can happen. So you really want to just say, we respect our opponent. We're going to do our best. My guys are prepared. And obviously, if we're prepared and we're focused, we'll be there. We'll be ready. So story number 3 is about UGA Bulldogs. Another staffer was arrested over the weekend for reckless driving. This is like the 10th person to be cited or arrested. And it's hard to change culture when you're kind of sweeping things under the rug. So they're basically continually downplay these things. It's one thing, I've had a couple of license issues in the past, speeding, parking, stuff like that. But once someone dies, right? Once someone is in your vehicle and dies, then it has to be expedited to the 10th degree. You only got one chance to get a citation, to get arrested, to be found drunk, high, to hit a mailbox. You have one chance, and everyone should be on notice with that one chance. But it really, you can see now, it's a cultural thing. The university, specifically the athletics departments, you can tell, don't take it seriously. Now, obviously, it's a party town. Obviously, these staffers are in vehicles that are not there. So there's some level of, it's like whatever. This vehicle's not mine, so I can kind of speed a little more. I could do a little more with a vehicle that's not mine. It's a college town, so everybody's speeding. Certain roads, certain areas, that you're known to speed on certain roads. So you can understand those things. But when you put a policy in place that you got one shot, one citation, any type of interaction with speeding violations, drinking and driving, damage to property while driving, anything, you getting canned, that will cancel all that because they don't have no other room for error. Someone has passed away. They're going to get sued. They're going to have to find settlements. They're going to be liable for many, many things going forward. And they just have to have a cultural change. I don't think they're anywhere near that now because since January, they've had like 12 people get arrested or cited, player, staff. And a lot of times in this situation, when you're dealing with players who are 18, 19, 20, 21, they look up to the people around them. So if I see the person driving me running through the stop sign, I see the person driving me drunk as a skunk, I see the person driving me high as a kite, I see them putting their middle finger out the window saying F you to the driver that cut them off by mistake, or they're cutting off, almost hit an older lady in the freaking street. It's just like, okay, well, they can do it and not lose their job, and I'm good too. I remember I was driving, this is a job a couple of years ago, and we used to have them stickers that say, how's my driving, call this what number or whatever. And I don't even know what I did. I might have cut somebody off, whatever, and they called me. Someone called on that company vehicle, and they'll send you the actual audio. Lady was like, oh, he cut me off, da-da-da-da. And those are things that you put on your record if you are in a company that has driving responsibilities as your duties. So they have to put those on them cars. But you don't want to continue to be sued and stuff in your news, your name in the news for always being essentially allowing staff and students to get away with criminal activity. I mean, these are not just It's one thing if we're just doing, speeding at 10 miles per hour, 5 miles per hour, 20 miles per hour. But these are drunk driving. This is failure to yield. People have died. So, it's getting more serious as the days go on. And this hasn't been a year since these incidents have happened. And we always are already up to like 12 or 13 different instances and people. And I don't think people understand how hard that is. The average person doesn't get 12 citations in their lifetime. Let's say 50, 60, 70 years, 80 years. And this university has 12 in 10 months. So I think it's very, very, very concerning. And I don't know if they're taking it serious internally, but externally, what you look, you can tell that no policies have been in place, that you've got no chance to, have any errors. I mean, the players should be driving so slow that practice at 10 o'clock tomorrow and they don't arrive till 10 o'clock the next day after that. They should be driving that slow. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, the streets ain't that. I've been to Athens. It's not that serious. Like, you ain't, how we got to speed everywhere. You got to hit a mailbox everywhere, hit a trash can everywhere. Speed on the highway, drunk as a skunk after the club. You in the freaking ditch. Like, it doesn't make sense. But we'll see. But they're on notice now because way litigious lawsuits happen now is back in the day. You get to sue the person that you feel like done you wrong, right? But now you can sue anybody who is attached to that. So, say for instance, another person unfortunately gets hit, even if they're not killed, they can not just sue UGA, they can sue the college football organization, they can sue the bars that serve them liquor or weed or hookah, whatever their vice was that got them in that situation. They can sue the vehicle. Obviously, if it's insured or not insured, obviously the school owns the vehicles or a third party attached to the school owns the vehicle. So there's a lot of different instances where this can go way bad for UGA, and these are public records. I mean, obviously, once they sign a settlement, that won't get out. But till you sign a settlement, all that stuff will be public record. Who owns the vehicle? Who signed it out? This is going to be a documentary somewhere because it continues to happen. But it's going to be interesting. But anyway, that was college football this week. So, peace.